Star Wars. Jedi Fallen Order. Cool game. Tight. Yeah, this one was questionable for me because I knew enough about it at first where I was like, man, do I really want to play this? Even though it is Star Wars, took me a while to actually want to get it. But finally just kind of caved in. Especially with all the recent Star Wars stuff that has been coming out. It was kind of hard not to. It's like, okay, you got me. I give in. I cave in, I give up. And I don't necessarily regret playing this. It's just these type of games, these Souls-like games, I just really don't care for. Even another Souls-like game, Neo, that was so much like Onimusha that I didn't really even want to play that. But look what happened. So I don't know, I feel like some of these games, like, I know what I like and don't like, and whether I decide one day magically to give something a chance, or you know, I do start to become less picky over time, and I have been playing games that I've been wanting to play, and all these things. That's great and all, I just hate that this is one of those games. Like, it's Star Wars games, and I don't really get to play a lot of these. All the good ones are kind of old, and I didn't get into those as much as I would have liked to. It was once, like, yeah, I played the old Battlefronts. There's like one game I played on the Game Boy Advance. I played the new Battlefronts as well. But then this comes along, and it's like, it's trying to be a Souls game, the parrying and the dodging, and I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. And the traversing and the jumping and climbing and it the puzzles, dude. It's just like, what is this? Is this, I get that Jedis are on their own, doing their own thing most of the time. They're traveling. This is very realistic in that sense, where like they're always doing something, you know? They're always busy. They don't just sit around and watch TV, you know? But here I just felt like it was everything Star Wars, but just not what I wanted. I loved the music. I loved the lightsabers and the environments, and this is a really good quality AAA game. But that's the thing though too, like if I'm gonna play Star Wars at all today with what games are mostly available for modern consoles and all that, whatever, I think I like Battlefront more really, because it just stuck true to like just trying to be Star Wars. Like here it's like, hey, we're gonna give you a Souls game with a Star Wars coat of paint on it. You know, once again I played Neo 1, some of Bloodborne, I skipped Sekiro. I don't I've never played a FromSoft game. Never played any of the Dark Souls, no Demon Souls, no Elden Ring. So I really went out of my way to play this, because I avoid those games like the plague. Like the hardest, most popularized mainstream Japanese games that everyone tries to get in on and tries to fit in and be in the community. It's such a bunch of bullshit. So for me, this one was weird because it's like, well, I normally would not have played anything like this, but I love Star Wars so much that like I just had to. But sure, like eventually I had no other choice other than to be like, well, okay, I got the game. I'm gonna play it. I obviously made that decision. I'm just gonna like get through the whole weird dodging shit and all that. Like I don't think it's what Star Wars does. Like, sure, they're really acrobatic and athletic and all these things. Like, dude, they when they move around, you'd think they're as light as a feather, you know? But think of the movies, like, sure, they're doing a lot of stuff like that, a lot of stunts, but generally they're not dodging every little fucking thing. They're not. I suppose parrying could be arguable, but the dodging, that's what bothers me, because, like, dude, I swear to God, that is more Dark Souls than anything. That's like a signature thing, is freaking rolling and dodging. It's so annoying. It's like, I have a fucking lightsaber, I have the Force, I'm a space wizard, magic. Why am I dodging? Why am I, like, going so out of my way for, like, the most basic dumb shit? Like... Granted, I think something like that move is always optional, but it's definitely not required. All they need to do is stand and block with their lightsabers and cut shit down, dude. A fucking giant thing that's thousands of degrees or whatever, right? Like, they can move things with their mind and they're freaking waving their hands and, dude, they're the most overpowered things in the galaxy. Why are they dodging shit, man? See, maybe I'll buy that in the Dark Souls universe. Whatever the lore is there, however it works. And granted, dodging is a very unfortunate, common game mechanic, but that doesn't mean it should be glorified either. I hate how much I had to depend on the dodging and all that, right? Like, okay, blocking their lasers, that's always been a thing. I wouldn't say parrying has always been a thing, but blocking other lightsabers. Like, I haven't played a lot of Star Wars games, but I've seen enough. I've watched all the movies. It's always been Star Wars ever since I was a kid, and to see it depicted this way... And sure, Star Wars has been depicted in many different ways. Anime... The prequels, the sequels, the stuff today from Disney, freaking everything EA has done, all the old games, the pod racing, the Boba Fett, the Naboo Starfighter stuff. I played a lot of that. I watched a lot of that. Like the first good Star Wars games. Never played Knights of the Old Republic. But I have an idea of what that game would have been like, right? It's just, you look at Star Wars as a whole, and then you look at this game, and it's kind of like the black sheep. Like, I think for what it's trying to do, and fitting into the Souls category, and creating its own reputation, I think that's all great. I really do. It's not so much I have anything against Souls games, it's just I don't want them. I don't like them. I don't prefer them. I don't want to touch them. I don't care. There's thousands of other games out there. Granted, one day I might give in and just be like, fuck it. I'll just play whatever. I don't give a shit. Fine. But as of right now, where I'm at, with just everything, gaming in general, what I'm trying to do here, just whatever I got going on, Souls is not on my list at all. If anything, if it is on my list at all, it's at the very bottom. I ain't got time to play Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls, Sekiro, finish Bloodborne, just let alone for so many games keep coming out that are considered Souls like that. It's like, dude, no. I gotta be picky about it. I'm not that interested in Sekiro other than it's FromSoft, Japanese, ancient feudal Japan, whatever, fine. There are things I don't like about it though. Neo, I actually really like that game. I didn't at first, but I started to like it. What do you know? I don't know. Cutscenes are good.
Who are you people?
My name is Sir Junda, and this is my captain, Grease Dritus.
How you doing? Yeah, the Mantis is my ship, but you better pay attention to this lady here.
So, who are you?
Cal. Kestis.
Yeah, aside from all the Dark Souls bullshit, like, yes, it was a good game. Yes, the story was good. I liked the characters, the humor, the dialogue, the cutscenes, the music, the action. It was very cinematic, a little too cinematic. But it's like I love it because it's Star Wars, but I hate it because of like these small things. Small. And it's just unfortunate because it's like all the good Star Wars games are kind of old. Even Knights of the Republic is old. There's been plenty of other ones. There's so many. There's like this one Jedi game where I saw the cutscenes, the game movie. Never played it. They've been pumping these out for a long time. Granted, a lot of these older games are purchasable, like on the PlayStation Store, for example. They're cheap. But that's just my kind of problem, though, is like, even the pod racing one, it got like a remaster or something like that, reignited, I don't know. That's part of my problem, is that they're just so old. This is the most recent, this is kind of what Star Wars is currently doing right now. You know, there's gonna be a new one soon. It's just, I don't know. I love it so much because it looks so damn good, and it's like, you get to explore these worlds, and you are this rogue lone Jedi who travels and goes through his own thing, and it's very tied to the Clone Wars and all this stuff, right? It's Star Wars through and through, in and out, left and right, up and down, but it's all that, but it's like this too. I don't know, it just throws me off. Cause yeah, the negative points are it's too soulsy, too dodgy, too parry-y. But I think beyond that, I think what kind of put me off even more than just that, which is kind of Soulsy like from what I've seen a lot of Souls gameplay. I've probably more than I should have. Maybe I went through like a phase. It wasn't like willingly, it just kind of happened. Because usually that's one of the most, like, granted, the Souls community, a lot of those people are really chill, they're super cool, talented, you know, passionate, courageous, all these good things. It's a nice community. I think some of them can be kind of assholes, but I mean, but the point is, like, it's just weird because, like, there's so many things that are considered Souls, like the Souls games, all these things, and Star Wars is such a separate thing. It's like such its own entity that, like, you'd wonder and why it went into this whole Souls territory. I don't know why. I don't know who asked for this. I don't know why it came out. I'm not necessarily complaining. It's just because the way I look at it, it's just another Star Wars game. It's just another Souls-like game. Fine. But for me, for my experience, for my timeline, my story, my way of life, all these things, if I got this game and they took all that soul shit out of there, this would have been really fucking cool. I would have enjoyed it that much more. Just give me a modern, good Star Wars Jedi fucking game. Seriously, that's all. It's like, I realize these games are trying to cater to every generation. You know, you gotta work with what you got. If anything, you're gonna have to wait for the thing that you might want the most or that will satisfy you the best. It's like, what? So the Star Wars game I want, that ain't gonna come out till I'm an old man. Is that what we're looking at here? Give us the old game style. Very traditional, but with the new game twist. Old school, new school, you know? Why this soul stuff? Why? Did anyone want it? I don't know. But the fact is, it is a thing, and I think people have more than beyond kind of accepted that fact, and is like, alright, just roll with the punches. Yeah, it's cool to see, I don't know, whatever. It's cool to see, like, some familiar faces I've seen in other games. It's gonna be very obvious who that is. So a lot of good games that she always happens to be in. I don't even have to, like, say anything more. I didn't really like Cal. I thought he was... I liked his voice. I liked his attitude and his personality and his character, and I didn't really like his face. As in, like, I guess the new gen version does look much better. But last gen version, it's just his face model was really smeary and blurry, and he looked like he had a really bad, like, overbite or underbite or something, and his jaw was like swollen, or he just didn't really look like complete. I don't know. And granted, he's just a Jedi. Like, you know, all Jedis look different. They're not all gonna be like... They're not all gonna look like Liam Neeson or freaking Ewan McGregor, you know? So... I don't know. I thought he was really random. I don't know how he was created or where he came from, if he did it all or just made for the game, or I don't know. I'm not complaining either, because it's like, okay, if we're gonna go into a story like this and all these things are happening, whatever, coming across a guy like Cal, sure, it's very believable. But just like with the entirety of the game, I ended up liking him, sure, but I mean, it's just a character development. I think there was a lot of that missing at first, and you're trying to figure out, like, who's this guy, why, who, what, when, where. You know, we're not obviously playing like Qui-Gon Jinn or Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever, right? Anakin, Luke, blah blah blah. Hell, Mace, Yoda, you name it. It's like, I don't know. I know that games, especially, probably more so than a lot of media, movies, whatever it may be, they do try to do their own thing, and sometimes I think it is for the better. If anything, any game any movie stuff, any game that came out of it, they're gonna try to do something very movie heavy, very relatable, very shot for shot, and then they're gonna do something a lot more original. They're always gonna do one of the two, if not both. So you know, and there's been enough Star Wars games where it's like, hey, we've gotten a lot of good shit throughout the years, you know, this is fine. Yeah, one good thing about this game is I'm giving it a lot of negativity, but I'm giving it a lot of positivity at the same time. Battlefront, for example, this is probably about the only other recent modern comparable game to this. Battlefront was more laser heavy, more gun heavy, more arcadey, more arcadey-ish, more, you know, Star Wars, just a little bit of everything. Do what you want, fly a ship, be a Jedi, kind of, be a ground troop, whatever, right? Here it was just all Jedi focus, which is awesome because come on, everyone loves the Jedis. I mean, having a fully fledged Jedi specific game is you can't go wrong with that. But I don't know, do I want to see my Jedi like constantly climbing crates and boxes and figuring out these dumb puzzles? And granted, these guys are like secret agents, you know, they go in, they infiltrate. They're special forces, man. They're the top dogs. I get it. But what I don't, why couldn't we just like move around normally, you know? I think that would have been fun to just focus on the exploring and not so much like they really did test you as a Jedi, like, you know, how well are you at solving these puzzles and how well can you figure out how to get around and find these collectibles and secrets and yada yada yada, get around the map and these levels and I don't know, it was so much hassle. I just wanted to cut guys down, deflect some lasers, dude, fight some bosses, and just have a good time. That's all. And for when you got to do that, it really did count, and that's when it mattered. And I was thankful for that, and I appreciate that, all these things. But it was one of those games where, hey, I was really enjoying it, but at the same time, I was waiting for the freaking game to be over, man. I was like, God, if I have to look at one more puzzle, if I have to climb one more goddamn thing, this is why I don't play Assassin's Creed. This is why I don't play like parkour games, like really heavy mobility games, because it's just this craziness constantly, and I like to keep like a really focused energy harnessing kind of path and direction, and like I don't know, it's just for how much I love Star Wars. This game was disappointing. On the surface, no, it was great. When you really look into it and go deep and go hard in that way, I don't know, is this what a Star Wars fan likes? Is this what a Star Wars fan wants? I realize they're trying to cater to more than just the fans, sure, to everyone. It's a game, it's something to make money off of, but like, if anyone liked this more, I think it was the Souls people more than the Star Wars fans, man. Because granted, the Star Wars fans, I assume, if they even play video games, right? They've probably played just about everything that's ever been available, basically, up to this point. So, then they play this and they're like, wait a minute, hold on. What is this? I know this. Oh, Dark Souls, right. Wait, why... why is that in my Star Wars game? I don't know. Like, I'm looking at it from all kinds of different perspectives and not just like my own thing, right? But you know what? The gameplay was good. It was hard. Once again, I think this is one of those styles of games where you have to get used to. Here's the thing. I didn't have like basically any Souls experience going in, right? Like I knew what I was in for. I knew it was gonna suck. I knew it was gonna be hard. Possible raging. It wasn't that bad. I got through the game fairly fine, thankfully. Like I knew I had to get ready for it. And I had to adapt and evolve and be like, okay, well, I'm playing a Souls-like game. Okay, got it. But dude, unless you had all that Souls experience, because really the only difference here is instead of a sword, it's a lightsaber. Instead of these creatures, it's fucking Star Wars shit, you know? Like, that's literally the only difference. Granted, the traversing and stuff might have been somewhat different-ish in a way, but even I know in the Souls games, there's always been like a lot of weird going from here to there, like really awkward kind of like paths to take to get stuff. I don't know. But basically, yeah, so if you don't have the experience, it's gonna kind of suck. But it's so rewarding, and its graphics and the atmosphere and ambience and the story or whatever that you're gonna get over it and just have to get through it however you can. There was a reveal later on that was really cool. That's all I'll say. What else? There's a lot of cool features in the game. Some I didn't really care for. But I appreciate the accessibility. Yes, it is very Souls-like. There's bonfires. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a Star Wars game. There's some customization. There's exploring. There's, you know, traveling. There's everything you'd want in a Star Wars game, other than the Soul stuff, I guess. I really liked how related this game is with the current Star Wars stuff that's been coming out. I think that's really cool to play something that's kind of like really tailored to the current Star Wars consumption that we're getting as far as movies and series go. Well, yeah, a little bit of both, mostly the series I'd say, but only one or two in particular that really match this kind of style of this game and where it takes place at, what it's doing. So that's pretty neat. I like that. I definitely didn't play this because of that. I know I had like a hand in it, but for me it was one of those things where I avoided this game, but I kept having to see it and look at it, and it's like always there. So I was like, you know what, dude, I'm just gonna get it. Play it, whatever. Yeah, overall, I think it was a good experience. I really like that. I like, here's the thing, if I'm gonna get broken into Soul stuff, man, it's gonna be this. It's gonna be Neo. It's gonna be Sekiro, and then it's gonna be like going back to Bloodborne, and then it's gonna go to, if I'm gonna play any Demons Dark Souls games at all, the Dark Souls games itself is what I'm gonna do last. I like all the other stuff that they do. I just don't care for like wearing a knight suit and fighting these random ass creatures that are just there and cool. I don't know. I mean, that's as basic and simple and as good as a game can get. I get that. Like, I get the appeal of it. Like, it's just kind of stale. But yeah, Star Wars is cool, and I love it. I love everything that they do. All the movies are good, all of them. Yes, even the prequels. Prequels are actually my favorite. I love the games, all the games, everything they've ever done. Don't care much for the animated cartoon series. I love all the live action. I love the anime stuff they did do. I've loved Star Wars ever since I was a kid, and that will never change. And even if they put out something like this, screw it. I'll still love it unconditionally. Yeah. You don't know the power of the dark side. Woo woo!